Hello, dear ones. Welcome to the Indigo Rose Lounge. I'm your host, Alyce Dylan. Today, I wanted to share a love with you, a particular love that you might guess already. I adore words. I love them. I adore words. I love the history of words. I love finding out where does this word come from? How do we use this word? I love it as an expression. There are some magical words that really only are the only way to express certain feelings. And then there are places where we have no words yet. There are experiences that us as indigos are having that don't yet have words for themselves. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun inventing new words to describe experiences that the five senses never have, and so they've never given it a word. But we will find words that express truly the experience of being a sixth-sensed or a spiritually perceptive person in this five-sensed world. One of the words that really hits home for me and that we use fairly often, so should be a constant reminder to us. And this couple of words, which isn't a single word at all, it's a phrase, but it really holds a stark reminder for us of some truths that I think have fallen quite far off the radar of humanity, and I think really need to come back. When we talk about our attention, we always say, pay attention. We very, very seldom ever say, give attention or donate attention. We always say, pay attention. And this implies something, this implies a truth that is key and is fundamental to all human experience. The most valuable asset we have, beyond our ability to simply show up in a moment, all present, all aligned, and affect the moment that we're walking into, is the power of our attention. This is a magnificent thing that now we have scientific evidence of. You know, I'm not a big fan of the white coats and the sciencey stuff because I think most of it's corrupt. But there is some science that was just simply being done as research, and it wasn't being done to discover a product to make people buy or make people sick or any other skewed agenda. And that's in quantum physics. You may have heard the story. When you put a particle in a particle accelerator, you spin it round to figure out its component parts and see how it behaves, scientists discovered something vital. That when a human being is present and observing the experiment, one set of things happens. And when someone isn't present and not paying attention, then a whole different set of lesser things happens. It turns out that the power of our attention is observable and measurable in scientific terms. Isn't that amazing to know? And you, as a sixth sense, spiritually perceptive, sensitive, empathic person, of course, the breadth of your attention is that much wider. Whereas five sense people are only paying attention to what they can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, we can pay attention, our most valuable asset beyond just showing up, our most valuable form of currency can be to pay attention to everything, to the way something feels, to the potentiality we're observing, to pay attention to the feeling of the room, to pay attention to the sense of the moment, to pay attention to someone's truth, what they're really feeling. Often you see people, do you ever have the experience of watching podcasters, and as you're watching them, you can just see, oh, Shane, you're really hurting, I'm sorry. Or, oh, wow, look at this shiny person. They truly believe what they're saying. They're really passionate about that. Isn't that amazing? Or, quite often, really, nah, this person doesn't buy it. They're just delivering words, kind of in a very flat way. We can see all of those aspects of a present moment, and our attention to that is very valuable because our attention enhances. So, as much as we are receivers of information, translators of information, we are also amplifiers. So, while the rest of humanity is observing, and their observation, their attention is valuable, our observation amplifies. When we observe, we truly amplify, which is why I never give you the advice to temper your vision. All of us observe, we can see the potential of people, and we often only see the potential of people and skip their reality, and we end up getting slapped around the head with a wet trout for our trouble. But the truth is that our observation of the potential enhances that potential. And so I would never say, let's not do that. First of all, it's not authentic. It's not who we are. We came here to see the potential of things, enhance them, and amplify them. All right, so that's one side of it. What's the other side? Well, how much time do you spend in your days paying attention, literally delivering energetic currency to things you really don't want, things you really can't stand, and things you know are just wrong? How much? How much time and attention do you spend focused on the ick, the ugly, the underside of things? I mean, people make it easy, right? I don't watch mainstream media at all, not from any country or any channel. I don't observe the propaganda machine at all. If I hear a truth and I want to follow it, I'll follow it. And I'll find reliable sources and I'll go and have a look. But you know why I know what the mainstream media is telling me? Because the independent podcasters make sure that I know what the mainstream media is saying about everything. Why do we do that? Why are we doing that? Who cares? You know, I think if it weren't for the amplification of mainstream media by independent podcasters, mainstream media would have died already long ago. They would be dead in the water. Nobody would be watching them. Nobody would be listening to them because, you know, they really do get just about everything wrong and they're not truth focused any longer. I don't care what side of politics or what side of a subject you are. You have to know that the mainstream media is no longer about truth. It's about delivering a perspective, whatever perspective that is. And so I don't tend to follow either side of anything because it's all about an agenda. So there are independent podcasters that I do follow. And what they do is they simply deliver analysis of goings on. They have their own sources and they deliver analysis. And for the most part, I don't follow podcasters that regurgitate any news whatsoever. There are podcasters that donate all of their time to amplifying the propaganda of the mainstream media. Which to me is the most ludicrous thing. Surely, if we know that there is this group of people whose aim and objective is to mold our vision and not to deliver truth, why would we even watch? Why would we even follow that? Because truth excites us as indigos and as sixth-sensed individuals. Truth is exciting. Truth is yummy. We want truth. Give me truth. Don't try and manipulate and play with my brain. I can see you doing that, and I don't want it. And yet, there are so many people who are just regurgitating things that really, I think, organically would have died if it wasn't for their attention and our collective attention to their attention to something that we all stopped paying attention to long ago. Wow, that was a pretzel. All right, my loves. So please know that the value of your attention is astronomical. If you've ever done any of the manifestation programs where let's take a little scenario. Imagine yourself having achieved a goal that you currently sit with. So whatever it is, and if you imagine yourself in that goal, so you have achieved that goal now, how that feels, who would you tell first, celebrate it, feel yummy, how good is this? And the longer period of time that you spend there in this coming true, the more momentum you give it, and the more attention you pay to it, and the more likely it is to happen. And certainly, the steps towards that goal will start to show up in front of you. That's an absolute truth. That is how we do that. It's one of the skills that the indigos have, or the spiritually perceptive have, that we're really good at this. Anyone can do it, of course, but we're really good at it. We're really good at it because we can amplify all of those emotions. So if you've ever done any of that, you know the power of your attention. You know it's extremely valuable. I've told the story about the orb, the golden orb spider in my garden, and how I paid attention and appreciated the first one, and suddenly I had 8 or 9 of their spider webs all over the garden. It was glorious. I paid attention. I just appreciated, and they amplified. They covered the whole garden. And so we can do those things. Try it. Try this game for yourself. Really appreciate and amplify something with your attention. See what happens. Try to do something you want, for goodness sake. Don't try and do something you don't want. But if we appreciate and amplify with and pay it, give it the currency of our attention, we're amplifying it and making it that much bigger. So tell me then, why would you want to pay attention to things that are really horrible, just really awful? And then you're going to say, but Alyce, I can't stick my head in the sand and pretend. No, I'm not saying do that. Pay attention to the solutions. So we're aware of all the skeletons that have fallen out the closets and all of the really vile things that have been going on in humanity. We know what's going on. But rather than paying my attention to someone just whining about all the shiny bums, for example, people spend a lot of time whining about the shiny bums. I just want someone to give a clear solution. What are we going to do about these shiny bums? What are we going to do about these arrogant so-and-sos who think it's their right to block out the sun and chip us all and make us into cattle? And what are we going to do about these shiny bums? And if someone presents a good solution, something that's holistic, yes, I know we're all mad, and how dare they? And maybe we should just lock them all up. But I don't know if that's really logical. So, good solutions. Pivot. There it is. There's the bad thing. I don't want that. Fine. What do we want? We want a world free of the shiny bums. We do. We want a world that's free of these arrogant so-and-sos. How do we achieve that? What are the steps? How can we get involved? What else do we want? You know, people in every country in the world have a big moan about elections and election integrity and where's the voice of the human, okay? And there are people doing good things about that in various sectors. But where's direct democracy? Are you telling me we're not technologically advanced enough to be able to do direct democracy? Is this not something that we can facilitate now? I think we could. And so if I see a positive thing about how to resolve some of these challenges, I'll throw all my attention at that. That's wonderful. But I really try to manage, especially on social media. I really try my absolute best to balance my attention. So if I do happen to see some 3 negative things show up, I then turn my attention immediately to watching something that's yay and yummy and that I know elevates me and makes me feel good. Because the power of my attention is important. You can see it on our social media. What we pay attention to gets monetized, gets paid. Lots of people pay attention to something, then social media platforms give money to that thing. And yet, so many people are paying attention to everything that they don't want. And when amongst them there are indigos, that's just amplifying the negative. So how about we just don't? We just stop. Stop paying attention to these whiny things that go on about all that's wrong and start demanding, okay, what's the answer? What's the answer? Give me an answer and I'll pay attention. As long as we're just whining, not paying attention. Yeah? Because you are literally paying really expensive currency to a whole bunch of things. And if they don't make you feel good, if they don't elevate your soul, or at very least inform you logically, then let's just withdraw our attention. Just withdraw our attention to all of that doesn't propose solutions, give us answers, and make us feel good. Because we came here to feel good. We came here to know joy. We came here to experience love. If the things around us aren't supporting us in that endeavor, then stop paying attention to them, lovelies. Because your attention is very valuable. I certainly value your attention. And I know that you value your own attention. So don't throw it away on things that are not providing solutions. How about that? Is that a good perspective for the week? All right, darling, and remember to love. Love, love, love. Always.